What is going on, Philadelphia? Hey, long time no see. I know. Listen, we haven't seen in a while. It just sucks. The holidays are busy for you. They're busy for us. And it just sucks when, like, the day you tape a show is the day of every holiday going on, as if we didn't have enough on our plates. But we're glad here to be joining you tonight for the playoffs. Yes, boys and girls, it's the playoffs. And play is the only time you're going to hear me say that word in playoffs. Play. Because playtime is over. Now that it's the postseason, it's do or die. We've talked a long time on this show and analyzed and combed through stats. When it comes to the postseason, you can take stats and dump them out the window. We've talked a lot about records. Who's got a better record? Whose opponent's better? When it comes to the postseason, you can take records and throw them out the window because it's all about matchups. All about matchups. And that's the beautiful thing about the NFL playoffs. You don't get a series. You don't get to screw up for a game. You don't get to, okay, don't worry about it. We got them in 2 games. No, you have to beat the team that's in front of you. Otherwise, you go home. Failure is not an option. And that goes for every postseason. But I feel like in this particular postseason, for this particular team, it's the message. Failure is not an option. Because we thought failure might have been an option when they lost the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't worry, we'll just run it back next year. No, not an option. Because we saw how difficult that was next year, the following year. You guys are on to something special. I'll go out and say that this might be the single best Philadelphia Eagles team that we've ever seen go to the playoffs. Because we have not seen a defense like this since the 90s. We have not seen a rushing attack like this ever. And we still have AJ and Devine and Dallas and all of that. We need to maximize the opportunity that's in front of us. Because what I don't want to happen is exactly what happened last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where I had to watch Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelce with tears in their eyes walk off that field. I'm not ready to do that. Not with BG. This is the best team we're putting in the postseason, and failure is not an option. It's good to see you guys again. Speaking of which, it's good to see y'all. Haven't seen you in a minute. How was your Christmas? How was your New Year's?
Welcome to 2025.
Oh, my God.
Right? Christmas,
I'm still writing 2024.
Same. Every time I put the pen to paper, it's the 2-4 instead of the 2-5. Christmas was good. New Year's was good. I love your opens. I'm telling you right now, I love your opens. I get these, it's like a high and low of emotion because you got me laughing when you say otherwise, you say otherwise, and then you say ever, and then you bring in the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I get the lows of the low. You get that painful reminder. Later, yeah. But no, it's good to see you. Good to be back in the chair. Gritty, how about you?
I was sick for the holidays, so life is good. I'm healthy now. I'm not dying inside. That was my daughter got me for Christmas. She got me sick because I can't wait till she gets out of school. Kids in school are just petri dishes, just running around, passing it off, handing it off, and you come home and you get it. I'm like, then her mom got it. I was like, don't come back. So stop tracing it all over the neighborhood. Everybody's got it now. So yeah. I'm glad I'm good now. But whoa, I was down.
Like bedridden sick?
Oh, I was laid up. I was laid up. Like I did a drive by one of my friends' houses, and I was like, yo, just make me some food. And they came out, she brought me food, and I just rolled the window down. She's like, blah, blah. I was like, no. Don't get contaminated. Just throw it in the window, and I'm going to pull off.
I got the wrong friends.
You're right. I didn't even want them to come to my house. I'm like, I don't want you touching my doorknob.
You got friends that deliver you food?
I don't have friends, first of all. But you have friends?
Oh, well, yeah. I'm taking that personal.
The ladies take care of me.
Jason. Like, you don't got friends?
Somebody doesn't text somebody when we go to a game, you know?
I'll bring it back up. We left that 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's 2024.
And you're still upset.
We're leaving that in 2024.
Yeah, we're leaving it.
Okay, I'm
new
sorry.
year, new you. New year, new you.
Back, let's not bury the lead.
Right.
You've got friends that will show up. Now, do you drive to them or they drive to you?
They would come to me if I wanted them to, but my whole thing is like, don't come to my house and get contaminated. I literally was like, look, I'm going to lump up in this car and I'm just going to roll my window down. You throw it in the front seat and I'm going to pull off.
So like on one side, I want to say he's got some good friends. On the other hand, I say he's treating his friends like drive-through.
Oh yeah,
He's just pulling right
100%.
up, rolling the window down. They throw the food in the whip, and off he goes.
I'm just saying, you guys.
I need friends like that.
You guys see the way I treat you. It's not any better for anybody else. Facts. Facts. Just so you know, everybody gets the same treatment.
Well, regardless of how we're treated and how we treat each other, it's good to be back in the same chairs with you guys.
Absolutely.
It's good to be back in the same chairs with you guys. And listen, we're gonna keep this thing rolling throughout the playoffs, and hopefully post Super Bowl we'll have, and post parade we'll have the post parade episode. But everything is focused on the Green Bay Packers, and of course the biggest story. Which, listen, to be fair and to be transparent and honest, I'm glad that we're post Saquon record talk, because that would have drove me nuts. But what we are at is the crux of calming the fan base down. Or are you worried about Jalen Hurts and the concussion protocol and the lack of reps and not starting and so on and so forth? How are you feeling about the main lead in this, which is Jalen Hurts going into the postseason?
So I think before we even get into that, I gotta do what I do real quick.
Do what you do.
It's the best sound in the world. Are you worried? Look, I think it's corny if people are worried about Jalen Hurts like that. Like, are you worried? No. Is it a valid? Should you pay attention to it? Sure. He practiced today. We'll see what happens tomorrow in terms of symptoms. If he does, because this has nothing to do with the Eagles. This has everything to do with an independent neurologist, right? So if they determine that he can't go, all right, well, then it's a concern. Am I worried about Jalen Hurts taking 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off? No. He's got experience in the offense. He's not a rookie. He's got experience with A.J. Brown. He's got experience with the wide receivers in that offense. So I'm not worried about it. And the reality is this is traditionally a unit that starts slow anyway, and they found a way to win 14 games. I'm not worried about it. It is worth paying attention to, but I don't think it's something that at the end of the day I'm going to pin my hat on and say if he doesn't come out firing on all cylinders, we're in trouble. No, I'm not worried from that perspective at all.
Big G.
I'm a big cornball, apparently, because I'm worried about it.
Glad I prefaced that.
I too.
Glad I prefaced that.
I'm a cornball, but why are you
Don't
a
be
cornball?
cornballs.
Nah, I'm
Why
just
you a
saying.
cornball?
So everything he said is right, but it's also wrong. There's two things.
We're back
that-
at it.
2024 is 2025.
We're right back at it.
There's a small caveat of when Jason's right that he just leaves a lot of the wrong out of it. But so the basic point of it is that one, he the concussion protocol, it could be rest, it could be them gamesmanship, it could be having to go through the system and he's fine. I'm not worried about his play. He loves AJ. They're best friends. Devontae, 3 years together. I'm worried about, hey, it's going to be 10 degrees. You haven't run 30 yards down the field in 3 weeks. You're going to be winded. That air is going to be creeping into your lungs. It's hard to run the RPO with a guy who's gassed a little bit because you haven't been able to get on a treadmill or do any kind of work. That's my first worry. My second worry is it's the playoffs, and they know you're injured. And what happens when somebody's injured? You attack it. I'm worried about cheap hits on my quarterback. I'm worried about him not getting down early enough. I'm worried about him possibly getting knocked out and the thumbs up doesn't work again, and to which case my guy's out on IR and I don't have him for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So am I worried about things? Yes, I'm worried about things. It's not a huge, like, I can't sleep at night. But there is definitely something that if you got thoughts in the back of your mind on how it's going to go, then you're a rational person. Because the slow starts, I'm not worried about slow starts. 90% of the season, we haven't scored in the first quarter. I'm not worried. If he comes out there and they can't complete a pass for the first quarter, I'm like, we are right on schedule. Like, I'm not worried about that. But again, I'm worried about how he looks running the ball. I'm worried about his wind, his cadence. I'm worried about how he protects himself because I can't have my guy get dinged up because then it's going to be Tanner time.
We're saying the same thing.
Like I said,
we
you're
are
right, but
saying
you're
the
wrong.
same thing. I'm not, but you're still cornball if you're
Yeah,
worried
yeah.
a little bit. So from
Yeah.
cornball 1 to cornball 2, what are you worried about?
So
And why am I just finding out that you guys are worried about this?
Yeah, I'm not worried. The concussion thing, I had to talk, and I did it today. I got a phone call, and an Eagles fan very concerned about the concussion protocol thing, and I was like, we're just playing the game at this point. He's fine.
Correct.
He is FINE fine. But the thing is, if you clear him, and he is available now, he's cleared out of concussion protocol. We just got snow. We just got ice. I don't care if my dude's shopping at the Acme, right? And slips on some ice because somebody didn't do their job and then bangs his head and gets another concussion. Like Greg Gritty said, my man's out or you're at practice, anything.
I will say
they're
this.
playing the game. They're playing. Why clear them when you don't have to?
I will say this, so just to let you finish. If I'm getting people to drop me off food and soup, I think a $250 million man could have his groceries dropped off.
Know,
he's not out in the parking
damn
lot.
right. The homeowners association, his landscape. You know what the hell? Jalen Hurts is not shopping at the Acme.
He sure ain't. He got that lovely wife out there too.
Strange ass things have happened, and you're trying to avoid any sort of accident whatsoever. Why would you even put yourself in a position where he could ding his head and then and now he's on IR? Because
I got to be honest. I get it. I understand it.
You're just
I
playing
feel
it
it.
safe.
I vibe it.
You're just playing it safe.
No, I feel like you're playing scared.
Well, they're not playing it safe. That's the problem.
No, you're playing it smart.
In your head, I feel like you're just being scared.
You're playing it smart in the event that something catastrophic happens. Where I am cornbally and a little concerny, right? Yeah. Is that shut up. Jalen Hurts had an outstanding training camp. It was well documented. The lack of interceptions, which I hope next year isn't a thing because it just screws up the whole vibe when he actually does throw an interception, right? So he had an outstanding training camp by far, and this is across the board from the beat writers, one of the best training camps that anyone has ever seen since like Carson Wentz's rookie or sophomore year, right? And then in the beginning of the season, kind of struggles to kind of establish
against who?
I am worried about the Packers. Yep. I am worried a little bit. The Eagles fans, you know me, you know I'm Johnny Positive, you know I'm glass half full, rose-colored, green-colored glasses, whatever the glasses are, the shady rays are that you're wearing. However, if this thing goes south, the one concern that I have is that a little bit of what you said, Jalen is not going to have the wind. He's going to get Jadeveon Clowney'd because some guy's going to want to make a name for himself and take.
He's got to protect himself because they're going to be trying to.
He's got to protect himself big time.
So, I hear both of you, and I hear both of you because, like, I'm just as much of an Eagles fan as you guys are, right? Mm-hmm. And I know the seat that you're sitting in, and I know the shoes that you're walking in. You're scared. That's what it is because we've seen too many times things go south. So I don't mean to dismiss what you're saying, genuinely, because I get it. And if Jalen goes down, it's like, shit, here we go. Like, I understand that.
Call Nick Foles. But
we have sat on this show, Gritty, you have sat on this show, and you have said, I don't mean to break the news to everybody, but it ain't Jalen Hurts that's running the show. It's Saquon. Yeah. He's the keys to the offense.
Well, I said the opposite of that, but carry on.
No, you said it was...
No, I said that Jalen Hurts is the reason.
You said it was Jalen Hurts?
Yep.
Well, I had it backwards then. Yep. So you're not as cornball as I thought you were. But
it's Jalen Hurts.
I digress as he looks once again to his right.
Number 2. No, what I mean to say is I think that I'm tempering the concern that I may have because I believe, I said it months ago, that I'm starting to believe in this team. And this team, while Jalen Hurts, in your opinion, is the driver, I just believe in the group of 53. And I don't think that there's not a team in the NFC, for me, for my money right now, that I fear a matchup with. And for Green Bay specifically, understanding that they're banged up on their right, like their quarterback has an injury he's dealing with. And I'll tell you, like, Christian Watson's out for the season, and Jair Alexander isn't going to play. And if you pay attention to the news coming out of Green Bay, they ain't right in that locker room. And they're not rolling into this game thinking that, hey, we're the underdogs, we're going in there, we're going to steal one in Philly, they got to play us. They're trying to figure out, after another loss, this time to Chicago, they're trying to figure out, hey, who are we? And if you listen to reporters and communication coming out of that locker room, they ain't healthy. It reminds me a lot of how the Eagles locker room sounded last year heading into the postseason. So I'm taking my 53, whether I'm concerned about a little bit of rust from Jalen, maybe he doesn't have his legs or his wind, and I'm telling you, this team is still good enough to beat the Green Bay Packers.
But we're not talking about the team yet. We're talking about Jalen Hurts coming off concussion protocol.
But I'm not worried about it. That's why I'm saying I'm not worried about it.
I know, but you just wanted to soliloquy about the Packers and the other. We haven't even gotten there yet. We're literally just talking about our guy coming off protocol. So you're not worried about it.
But what would you be worried about if it's not to lose the game? He started the whole show with, you refuse to lose. Like, failure's not an option.
Failure's not an option.
Well, if Jalen ain't right and we're concerned, it's that we're concerned he's not going to be right, and ultimately it's going to cost us the game, correct?
People have concerns about Jalen Hurts the whole season.
Hard dots to connect.
You still win the games. People have concerns. He only threw for 20 passes. So the concern is always just a concern. It doesn't mean that you're not going to win the game. We're just talking about a guy coming off a concussion protocol and the things that might happen that might derail us. The Jadeveon Clowney thing is a real thing. It is something that you do have to worry about. You're not worried about it? Cool. Now, you want to talk about, what do you want to talk about next after quarterback then? Because you're just talking about a whole bunch of stuff.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to communicate why I'm not worried if Jalen's rusty.
Because
I believe they can win the game regardless.
You feel like the rest of the team's going to pick it up.
Yeah, I feel like they can win the game regardless.
You feel like this year was the year where they didn't necessarily have to lean so much on Jalen Hurts. And all Jalen Hurts had to do was just be efficient when it was time for him to be efficient, which he was. Be responsible when it was time to be responsible, which after the Green Bay game and the early goings on, I would argue he was one of the best in the league at protecting himself, the ball, and the offense. You saw him throw it away constantly, but that's okay. That's okay, Jalen. You can do that. You can throw it away and live to play another down. As long as you're not putting it at risk. I echo that sentiment in the fact that this team has proven that it can win without having to lean on Jalen Hurts. So if Jalen Hurts is rusty, that they can just lean on the rest of the team. However, I think if things go south, that we're going to look at that. Be like, I can't see the defense failing. I can't see Saquon not being able to bust open a run. I can't see the wide receivers uncharacteristically, like it was against Washington, dropping. I just can't see that stuff. What I can see is, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm just saying I'm thinking about it, is a rusty Jalen Hurts.
And a rusty, can I envision a rusty Jalen Hurts? Yes.
Yeah.
My understanding when we started the show was, are you concerned about it? Are you worried about it? No. Because what I'm concerned about and what I'm worried about is winning a football game. And I think whether they have a rusty Jalen Hurts or not, they're going to win the football game. So ultimately, my concern isn't really there. I think we have, and Green Bay is a good football team. I'm not telling you they're not a good football team. They've got a good run defense. They've got a good rush offense. But I'm telling you, I think I am not concerned because I have one goal in mind, and that's to win a football game. I think they can do that even while they're knocking off some rust with Jalen Hurts. That's what I'm trying to say in so many words.
That's a lot of words.
It's a soliloquy.
It's a lot of words.
You've already pointed that out.
It's a lot of words.
So we also have the Eagles are giving up 4.5 points to the Packers. Because these matchups are very intriguing. The entire NFC. I didn't even look at the AFC. I was just enamored in show prep, just kind of going over different scenarios in the NFC. The Bucs are giving up 3 to the Commanders. The Rams are home underdogs, 1.5 against the Vikings. I'm not looking ahead. You have to win the matchup ahead of you. I'm not looking ahead, but I do find it interesting that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my math concludes that if Washington wins, we play the winner of the Rams-Vikings game because that'll be the middle seed, the 4
Washington's
or the 5.
what, the 6?
6.
Okay.
6. So they automatically become the lowest seed, which means they go to Detroit and play Detroit, and they're going to get smoked by Detroit. If the Bucs win, if the Bucs beat the Commanders at home, which is a possibility, they're favored. Bucs come to Philadelphia.
The Bucs come to Philadelphia.
You think that?
Yeah, and the Rams are going to beat the Vikings, and we're going to beat the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that second one as much.
Well, it's
the Rams one. I'm saying I tend to agree with you on the
so
Rams.
if you look at the Vikings went out to Detroit. They get beat up by Detroit. Everybody who plays Detroit, go check the schedule. They lose next week because they're a physical team. The Vikings went out there to Detroit. They lost to Detroit. Who they played next week? A limping Rams team. And they took them 30 and beat them. And what did they do last week? They went out there and then had a little fake Super Bowl champagne party because they thought they were going to win the division. Then they went there to the Lions, got beat the freak up. And now they're limping in to go play The Rams again. The Rams who rested their players and already had a bye week. So they're going to go in there and be like, oh, they blitzed the daylights out of Darnold. He doesn't know what to do. Let's just do that and dog walk these guys who are already beat up from the Lions. So the Vikings go out there and drop an egg and lose to the Rams. Todd Bowles, I know one thing about Todd Bowles. It's not just Jalen Hurts. If you're a young quarterback and you think you can run, their secondary is banged up down there, but when them cannons go off, Todd Bowles is coming, bro. He's throwing the kitchen sink. Dudes are coming off the top rope. Jaden Daniels, I guarantee you there's going to be a spy on your ass. So good luck beating Todd Bowles' defense. So bring one up here to Philadelphia because we can't take an L to them with AJ on the field. As long as AJ's out there, I don't worry about the Bucs. So the Bucs take care of business down there, shut down all this Daniel Jones conversation. And the Rams go out there and take care of the Vikings. That's how I see the NFC rolling.
I think the Rams-Vikings game will be a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the Rams are going to roll over and be some easy win for the Vikings. I think the Vikings are legit. That's the one thing that I will tell myself, that I have convinced myself over the last month, that because I would say for the first 3 quarters of the season, I was under the impression that the Vikings are the Vikings. And maybe that's the Kirk Cousins Vikings or the Vikings of years past.
It was almost like an extended Saints.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Saints were real hot for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, like
but it was an
they'll
extended
come back down to earth.
Yeah.
I know who the Vikings are. I've seen this team year after year. But the
defense
Vikings,
is good.
Right? They've got a great line. They've got a great run defense. They've got they obviously are putting up points. They are a much better team than I was willing to give them credit for. So over the last month, I've said, hold on, no, wait a minute. I know we all want to talk about the Lions, and I've told you repeatedly on this show that I thought the Lions at one point were the creme de la creme. The Vikings are legit. I agree with your assessment, though. I think it's going to be a tougher game against the Rams than some are expecting. When it comes to, I don't give a damn who comes to Philadelphia, to be honest with you, because it's a different team. We struggle with the Bucs, I get it, but we're a different team than when we saw them in week 4. Week 4, is that what it was, right? Right before the bye?
Right before the bye.
When they blew us out?
Yeah, week 5 bye.
We're a different team, and they're going to have to answer for that. But the Bucs are just so finicky to me. One week they look like, they're throwing the Chargers, right? They boat race the Chargers, and then the next week they're struggling with the Saints, and you just and that's what a wild card team is, right?
That's what a division game is.
Yeah,
that's I can't. The one thing I can't stand anything in life is when someone I got text messages to the first half of the Vikings-Lions game. Are both of these teams trash? These are the worst teams in the NFL. I'm like, it's a divisional game. Yeah. That's how every divisional game looks. Yeah. I don't care if it's the Saints. I don't care if it's the Panthers. I know that they're garbage, but they see it's like little brother, big brother. And the big brother knows the little brother's doing, but he's still annoying, and he hangs around, and it makes it look bad. Baker Mayfield's been slinging that ball. He has been slinging that ball. And he did it with Evans going down and the other guy going down. So Baker's been cooking. And the defense is banged. Like I said, their secondary is banged up. But Todd Bowles just does this magical blitzy thing that he does, and he gets pressure.
Dude. And I got to be like, I'm not trying to look ahead. I know there's viewers right now that are telling us, like, what? Dude, we're playing the Packers. Stop worrying about the Bucs. We're playing the Packers. Stop talking about the Vikings. Some of you got to understand, and some of you know this, and some of you don't. Last game at Veterans Stadium was on January 19th, which was my 21st birthday, and it did not go well. So when you see that meme of like helicopters in the background and a grass field, I have post-traumatic Bucs syndrome. Every time I see that logo, every time I see Rondé Barber, I have like Vietnam War type flashbacks. That's just like, Veteran Stadium, your birthday. Blah, 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 blah. So I have a little bit of reservedness to it, and that explains like the whole Bucs thing.
That was opening kickoff with Brian Mitchell, right? Where he went rumbling, and we thought he was going to take to the house. I think they scored in the opening possession.
And then Deuce ran it in.
Ran it in. And we were sitting there because I remember it. I was at Penn State at the time, and we were just going bananas. And that was coming into that game. The Bucs hadn't won a game under 40 degrees. I think it was.
We had everything going our way.
Every reason to win that football game. So I agree. I don't like Tampa, just historically, and the Eagles have struggled with Tampa historically. But again, you opened up the show and said it's all about matchups,
and it's the matchup in front of you.
Right.
It's the matchup in front of you.
I get it, but when you look at matchups, I think the reason we're going where we're going. There's just not many matchups. For me, again, there's just not many matchups that I fear.
Let's just put it this way. I look forward to knuckling up against Detroit specifically. I look forward to going on the road and knuckling up against Detroit more than I do the possibility of even seeing Todd Bowles in the Bucs.
No.
You don't think that at all?
No, I get it. I think Detroit's a good football team. Yeah. They are, right? And do I think ultimately that's the matchup we're going to see? Yes, I do. I'm just not looking at, and I'll start with the Packers. I'm not looking at the Packers saying I'm concerned about the Packers. I'm not, and that's not me saying I don't think the Packers are a good football team. I'm not looking at Tampa, the potential of, if the Eagles beat the Packers, and if Tampa comes to Philly, I'm not concerned about that either. And I think that's just more of a byproduct of my confidence level currently in this group. They are playing at an extremely high level right now. Yeah. They really are. Sans the Hurts injury, which derailed the Washington game. I mean, they were moving the ball.
Dude, let me tell you.
They were about to blow the doors off.
You could smell the fear in the stadium.
Right.
Like before did we have a show after that, or was that where we are?
I don't think we've had a show since. I think that was the week before was the last show we had.
Was the last show that we had?
Yeah.
You could smell the fear in that stadium. Like you could see the level of concern on Washington fans' faces.
Sure.
You could even see the sideline was like a little like, if Jalen Hurts stayed in that game, they were going to smoke him.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to smoke him. My only regret about this postseason is that the way things look like they're shaping up, unless the Commanders ran the table and landed in Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game, that we won't see those bozos again. Because that walk of shame walking out of that stadium, I mean, you would have swore that the Commanders fans, they just won their Super Bowl. They beat Philadelphia. That was their Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend they come in and completely lay an egg, because that was their thing, was beating the Eagles at home in front of all those fans.
Yeah, I think the Commanders will give the Bucs a run. I do. I think they'll present some challenges, and I think Jaden Daniels is just good enough to give Todd Bowles some fits. Maybe I'm wrong. You're right. Baker's slinging it. A lot of people like to overlook Baker, but homeboy is, what's he got, 45 on the season?
It just kills me because I hate conversations of, like, you have to do it. Oh, Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen isn't playing defense.
Right.
Mm. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
The Commanders' defense is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if Kenny Pickett wouldn't have thrown that first interception and gave them life instantly,
Right.
then we would have probably steamrolled them. If he would have played the way he did after that play and walked out and got a touchdown, just added on that score, and would have been 21-0, there would have been no comeback for them because they would have been just knocked out on the floor. But when you get that turnover and then they get the score, now it's 14-7, so it feels a little bit differently. So again, Washington doesn't have a defense. So I'm thinking about Todd Bowles, just a defensive savant, handling their offense, which is pretty good. I'm not going to say Jaden Daniels isn't good, like coming up, serviceable, but he's also a rookie. It's also the postseason. And Todd Bowles, you better go take care of business, because last thing I want to do is have what happened with us. Don't give him confidence. You gave one interception. Look what happened.
Yeah.
Because we still should have won that game.
Yeah.
But that one turnover gave them that, like you said, you were in the building. I'm sure, oh man, we got this. Then that one turnover happens and you look around and you're like, oh, you think you're cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they score, and then it's like, momentum's a real thing. So don't give them any kind of momentum. I need Todd Bowles to do his job, because I can handle Todd Bowles. Talk about not being scared. As long as you tell me A.J. Brown's walking out on that field,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not worried about Todd Bowles, because he doesn't have an answer for A.J. Brown. He can do everything else he wants to do, but he can't do that. And that just leads me back to the whole thing of like what I'm worried about for my quarterback. We don't know how they're going to play. They might say, Jalen, make sure you protect yourself. Don't run as much. Now, as much as Tanner McKee, who's my guy, he's QB2 for me all day long, played, and they played with backups, the one thing you saw in that Commanders game, oh, you're not going to be able to run the RPO like that? 9 guys in the box.
Yeah.
9 guys in the box.
Yep.
We'll keep a guy floating over top.
Yep.
Now you've got to run. And you got Saquon, you got the best offensive line in the business. But when you don't have, that's why I always say Jalen Hurts stirs the back. Because if you don't have Jalen Hurts going like this and you're like, is it him? Is it him? Who is he throwing it? Like, when you only have to think like it's going to be a handoff, he's going over top. It makes the game so much easier. So that's why I said, like, as much as people complain about Jalen Hurts, besides the fact that he just wins, I'll say this about Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders comes and plays with him, has his best career year he's ever had. Swift has his best career year he's ever had. Oh, Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley has the greatest career year he ever had. A.J. Brown had the best career year he ever had with this guy behind quarterback, because he just adds that one extra dimension of questions and worry for the other team.
And we all know those guys in our lives, our friends, who still refuse to give Jalen Hurts that credit.
They're quiet now, though.
The what?
They're quiet now, though.
Well,
now the new thing is the rust
I'm still dealing with that thread that you're in, that we're all in. You know, we know you have that one guy that refuses to give him any credit, and he's always going to, well, PFF said this or this. Regardless, to your point, yes. I mean, what does the guy have to do, right?
Yeah.
A.J. Brown career year, Saquon career year. So, and it's because of those guys, honestly, if we want to bring it back to the Packers, because the Eagles do have to balance it. They do have to figure out, hey, how do I keep Jalen dynamic, and how do we run our offense, our RPO, so that they don't stack 9 in the box? And obviously, Jalen's going to have to take some hits, or he's going to have to be a threat to run the ball. They're going to have to do that. So the Eagles are going to have to find that fine balance on Sunday to how much do we expose our quarterback? Because make no mistake, Green Bay's got a good run defense now.
Yeah.
Right? They're a top 10 run defense. You're not going to just run the ball down their throat. At
We
least I
said
don't
that
think.
shit about Baltimore. We
Right?
said that
That's
shit
what I said.
about
At least
the
I don't think.
Steelers, you know.
At least I don't think.
Yeah.
So
Right?
you know, the thing that makes the internet cracks me up. I make my stupid little videos, and Packers fans find my videos, and they come in and say, "We're the best, one of the best run defenses in the league." And then I say, "Well, you know that you haven't beaten any team over 500. So all your wins and great defense you played are against the Panthers, against the Jags, guys that can't run the ball." So I mean, it's not only that, their defensive stats are inflated because they only get to do that against good teams. They're 1-5 in their division. So they went up against big dogs. Guess what?
They got whooped.
The Lions ran the ball down their throat. The Vikings ran the ball down their throat. We're gonna run the ball down their throat because we're not the Jaguars. We're we're not the Bears. I mean, even the Bears.
Speaking of which, R.I.P. to
end
our
up
boy
doing it.
Dougie P.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Doug's like he's.
Now he'll get another gig.
You think
get
he
it.
gets another? I don't think he wants.
I
Another
don't think
gig.
he should have gotten that gig. I was surprised he ever got another job.
It may not be NFL this year or this coming year. He'll take another gig. He's a coach, and you can't tell coaches that. Yeah, we're just gonna hang it up and not coach
Yeah,
again. You know he'll stay. In
He
the
might.
game.
He might want to go back to like high school or college. That's where he came from.
Yeah, that's what he needs
out of
to go
nowhere.
back to.
Him and Josh McCown, right?
Yeah.
Just from high school to the pros. Good for them.
Speaking of, well, just taking care of business. You want to do some ad reads?
Oh, no reads today.
No reads today.
No,
You
no
missed
reads.
that. Yeah, no reads.
Yeah.
When did we talk about this?
Earlier,
Pre-show.
you were walking around.
You
I was
probably
walking
you were
around.
doing your
Yeah,
pre-show.
We're block
pace.
free today.
I wish
Yeah.
there was a camera in here that could see all the shenanigans and all
That happens.
like the weird shit
Oh,
that
yeah.
happens pregame. We all have our own pregame rituals. Mine is to pace the hallways angrily as I stare at the ground and ignore anybody in my path, just trying to think of the cold open.
Yeah, and one thing that they definitely made. So he's a man. Mitchell and Ness.
Yeah,
you love
yeah,
Mitchell and Ness,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's got every Mitchell and Ness, New Era gear. He's got it all. He's a big hat guy.
That's all
right?
they have.
Loves the hats. My man has the balls to look me in the eye. And he goes, "Yeah, the hat, Scrambling Randall," who's not a Scrambling Randall fan. "I wouldn't have gotten it. Nah. Yeah, it's all right. I don't think I would have gotten it."
Wow.
Like, where do you get off
Spreading
with
misinformation.
Scrambling Randall
This
saying
is the same
you
kind
wouldn't
of
have
shit.
gotten it?
People in the chat, you see what he does to me? He says like,
exposed the
"I don't
truth.
have any friends," and this is why he doesn't
I
have
don't
any
have any
friends.
friends.
I know that's what you said.
Well, at least I have
know
one,
that's
and
what
he
you
tells
said.
me you grunt during jujitsu.
I swear to Jesus, I'm going to take those letters and throw them out the window. Oh my God.
Keep circling. You'll find the mole. You'll find the mole.
Oh
Yep.
boy. Okay.
It's a hell of a grunt I've heard too. Go ahead, as you were. How do you not?
So this
how do you
is
not
how
dig the hat?
misinformation gets spread. God damn you, Jason.
Mhm.
This is how misinformation gets spread. He asked me, "Do you like the hat?" And I said, "I like the hat." And he
It's not
goes,
true.
"Did you get one?" I said, "No." And he goes, "Why didn't you get one?" I'm like, "I'm not sure I would have bought it." Those were my exact words, verbatim. Was
Correct.
it not?
No, I give you that.
Because if you look at the bro barn hanging up, I have no less than 60 Eagle snapback hats, flat brims, flappy snappies,
Mhm.
right? And so I just went to the Mitchell and Ness store because I try to find stuff that's unique that I don't have yet.
Sure.
So I bought like this one. This is not Mitchell and Ness, but it's got the little tattoo thing on the side. By the way, shout out to Art History 101, hooking me up with the Big Dom shirt. Love it, appreciate it. Thanks for sending me that in the mail. Shout out to you. Please go get one. Hit him up. But I try to find things that I don't necessarily have. So right now at the Mitchell and Ness store is a white hat with a white old school Eagles logo. Don't have anything like that. Perfect. Gonna buy it. I have black hats with the old school Eagle logos, and just because it says he's back scrambling does not mean I'm going to spend.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
not
it-
for
first
me.
of
Not
all-
for me. Maybe
first
for
of
you.
all-
But do you have a black hat with the Green Eagles logo?
Not one that says he's back
Do
scrambling.
you have one that's plain with a black hat with the Green Eagles logo?
Yeah, but not a flat brim.
Not a flat brim. If
No.
you had as many hats as me, you have
Well,
to
you get them
start-
sent to you.
That's not true. That is not true. That is
What do you
not
mean
true.
it's not true? You
That's
have
not
your
true.
little opening like your Dave Portnoy. You have your little open box sessions.
Gritty, you going to give me any help here?
None.
So first of all, I care less about you two girls talking about your outfits. Second of all, E-Rock buys 90% of his clothing. He gets a 10% bonus bump from people. So
you get a
90%
bonus
of the
bump?
stuff that he buys.
I get a discount.
you get a good discount.
No, I'm just saying 90% of the stuff you own, you buy.
Yeah,
90%.
Yeah,
Like
no,
you get,
I would say
you get like
95%.
Yeah, I'm now. I'll
Every
say 90.
once in a while, somebody sends me some.
I'll say 90 just being generous. I'm just giving a little flip number out there, but 90. Most of those snapbacks up there, like he's
How the hell do
spending
you
his
know?
own money. Huh?
How do you know? How close are you that you know how much he buys?
Because that's my friend. I
Yes.
brought him to a game.
Yes.
Because you don't have any friends. Because you don't have any friends.
So
Valid.
Erod
Very
doesn't.
valid.
He
Okay.
doesn't text you when he goes shopping like he does me.
True. Oh, but
He's
I'm
just-
the girl.
He's just sending me pictures.
But I'm the woman. You
that's
two are
what-
texting each other when
no,
you go shopping.
He
Karen,
texts
we're
me.
walking
Y'all
a
are talking
very
about it.
delicate
Y'all
line
are the
here.
ladies out here. Y'all are the ladies
we're
out here.
walking a
Erod's
very
like, look at this hat I just bought. You see this jacket? I bet you wish you had this jacket. And now y'all out here fighting over snapbacks.
I do like
While I'm
fashion.
sitting here bald and alone. I learned a long time ago. I spent way too much money on jerseys and shoes, and I put my money in stocks. And when I'm sipping on the beach and y'all are hugging these jackets in the middle of the night because your kids don't care about you and ain't nobody trying to help you,
We're
ain't in a
gonna
nursing
be
home.
we're gonna be selling looking like vintage stuff
Yep.
at the
There
vintage
you
store
go.
because that's
There
how
you go.
that's how vintage
Open up your
it
own
actually
pop
I got a he's back scrambling hat. You want
I got the thing back in 2025, lady. Now you don't know about this.
I still got the sticker on it.
Right? So,
By the way, sneaky move by the Eagles.
Mm.
Speaking of being sneaky and have no friends, sneaky move by the Eagles today, signing safety Lewis Cine. What is it?
Scene.
Lewis Cine? Totally messed that up. Lewis Cine, which, by the way, love the signing. Because
I don't know who he is or how to pronounce his name, but I love the sign.
here's all you need to know. Former first-round pick, 32nd in 2022.
the
Not-
Bulldog, right?
Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah.
That's not important. The first-round pick thing's not important. The fact that he had a bad injury, a compound fracture on week 4 of his rookie year is not important at all. Who might be some of your biggest threats on your way to the Super Bowl? In the
Detroit?
NFC?
Oh, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
NFC North. He knows the NFC North.
He knows not only the NFC North, but he was a draft pick and with all through mini camps and training camp with Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then he spent, if you're worried about
Buffalo.
the AFC, he spent the rest of the season with Buffalo Bills on their practice squad.
Okay, Howie.
I see you, Howie. You're trying to keep it low key. You're trying to sneak up on that kind of stuff. But I see you. I know what you're up to. You basically put a guy on the active, pluck the guy off the practice squad, put him on the active roster, and just in the event that you need some information. I like it.
so
That's kind of like a big Dom move.
do you think it's going to matter who's coming out of AFC? Who do you think is coming out of AFC?
Kansas City. Was that what you
No, I'm asking you.
Oh.
I don't know either the Bills or KC.
So the refs and Taylor Swift wanted to be Kansas City.
Right.
This year is the one time where if Lamar or Josh gets a caveat. Lamar has to beat Kansas City or he has to beat the Buffalo Bills. He has to be one of those two teams.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the Bills have enough to beat Kansas City right now.
Right.
Josh Allen's Mr. Superman or whatever, but the rest of his team is fugazi. This dude just put up 6 touchdowns and holding on while the defense is barely hanging by a thread. Kansas City is playing this whole defense thing. Their defensive stats are very similar to the Eagles. They're keeping teams down, and then they do just enough. It's funny how a win is cute when you're the Chiefs. When we're doing it, people get tired of hearing about it. You know what I mean? But when they've been won every game by less than 5 points, a win is a win. And, they're, you know what I mean? So it matters. So right now this year, for the love of God at the AFC, Lamar Jackson, you've got Derrick Henry, you've got Saquon Light. Just go out there and run the table and do it for America. America needs you to show up and do something because Josh can't do it. Josh is not going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not going to happen. So I need the Baltimore Ravens to go out there and handle business because that's the problem over there in the NFC.
Look, Josh better get past Denver. Is it Denver he's got in the first round?
By the way, huge Bo Nix fan. I'm like really kind of enamored by this Denver quarterback. Like I'm like, okay, all right, I see it.
He was a dude. He started with Auburn, and I remember watching him at Auburn, going like, Christ, how many years is this dude going to play? I feel like he was the Auburn's quarterback when I was in college because I felt like he was every single. And then he transferred, and now he's playing in Oregon. And I'm thinking, how many years of eligibility does this dude have?
Is Van Wildering it?
Might be, but to your point, I like Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix fixed that, at least for year one. He fits that system well. They play good defense. I think it's Buffalo. They have them in the first round, right? Buffalo and Denver?
Yes.
Is that a matchup? I think that's going to be a fun game.
It's going to be real.
I think that's the 1:00 game on Sunday, leading us right into the Eagles game, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's going to be a good game. I think Denver, based on how they play defense, is going to make it closer than we think. Obviously, I think Buffalo pulls it out, but I do like Bo Nix. I think Josh Allen has a lot of tools in the bag. I don't know if that gets him to the Super Bowl. I think he's going to be tested in the wild card round.
I hate Sean Payton.
So do
I hate Bo Nix. I hate Denver Broncos. I hate the Mile High. I hate everything in that state, in that city, in that place. I hate the fact that Joel Embiid doesn't like to go out there to travel to play. I hate Denver. Bo Nix had a 60-yard game and won it. And oh my goodness, this man is the bee's knees. Jalen Hurts has 190 yards and he can't throw the ball. I hate nepotism and conversations so much. I hate them. I hope they get beaten to the ground. I hope they get Josh Allen, I know what I just said. Go hang 50 on them punks and show Bo Nix he don't know nothing. Go make sure Patrick Surtain. Oh, remember when we used to want Patrick Surtain so bad?
I still do. What do you mean?
No, I don't.
Why?
No, I don't. Because I got Quinyon Mitchell.
You don't want him on the other side?
But you're going to need a replacement
what I'm
for
saying
Slay.
is when they wanted Patrick Surtain, it was Howie, go trade 2 first-round draft picks, trade anything you got to do. Because Patrick Surtain's the man. Well, guess what? I got the man. So now I don't even need you, Surtain. Mm-hmm. So I don't need Patrick Surtain.
Can we have all right, can I just ask the question for the sake of a real conversation because you said it? And I'm just asking a question. I like to have objective dialogue. That's all it is.
This is the setup, folks.
No, it's not a setup. I'm just asking a question, and I don't want to get berated for asking the question. But on my drive in, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and is Quinyon Mitchell who we think he is? And my answer was, no, he's not who we think he is. And that look right there says it all. And it's not because I don't think Quinyon Mitchell is a really good corner. But I think who we think he is already in his rookie year, some all-pro, lockdown, can't be beat corner, the way that we talk about him is at such a high level. Well, I think he's a really good corner. But is he who we think he is? No, not yet. I just think we talk way too highly of him already. And I'm glad you gave me that look because it means...
The fact that we don't talk about him at all is the reason he is who we think he is.
But when you say at all.
Because they don't target him. Because they don't throw to him. Because they don't throw to him.
Oh, the Commanders threw at him. Dallas threw at him. Like there are plays to be had.
There are plays to be had. There are also plays to understand that when you're playing, listen, Washington was the anomaly, right? CJ gets thrown out of the game. There's a lot of shit that just went wrong against the Washington Commanders. But when you're playing like New York and you're playing, Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys, if you don't think there's a layer of kind of taking one off.
Oh, sure.
They're all 100% is. They're 100%
But against the Commanders, he wasn't taking one off because they needed. They couldn't give up that touchdown to McLaurin.
You're gonna give up one.
I agree, and I was okay with it. That didn't bother me. Like that's gonna happen.
What are you trying to say? Somebody wake up Gritty.
Oh, you're sleeping. He doesn't want to hear the conversation. All I'm saying is I just think we get very excited sometimes. No, and I think once we taste, oh my God, we got a really good player, that we put him in this category that I don't feel like
he earned it.
First of all, he is in the category. He's not who you think you are, and I don't care what you think. But he is who we think he is.
That's fine. That's why I say it.
The reason that he is that of which he is for 2 reasons. One, the entire league has been put on notice to fear him. And by fearing him and not even testing him makes him who he is. Because they look at the film, they look at the tape, and they won't even test him. Now, to answer your question is, when you see him a second time, you get tape on anybody. And you know the kind of trickery, boom-foolery, and scallywag play calling that you have to do to get him to trick and bite on something. They literally had to throw 3 guys on his side of the ball, push one guy to the center, pull one guy back, and then pull one out. Where for a second, my gosh, the golden boy had to look twice and gets cooked in the corner. Oh, you got one on me. Okay. The second time somebody sees him around again, they do the same thing. They're like, if we overload this side, because it's not only him being young out there, we got Cooper the Gene out there, and my God, CJ, GJ be giving up touchdowns every single game. You can get him every once in a while. So yes, you give up 2 touchdowns in a football season. I think you're the guy that I think you are.
All right, fair enough. I'm glad and this is just proving my point to me. I think we have a really good corner. I really like him. And when he gives up a touchdown, it doesn't change my opinion of him at all, because it's like that's going to happen when you're out on an island for so long. That's going to happen.
You are so predictable.
Why?
This is why you have no friends. You looked at me and smirked as if to say, watch this hand grenade. I'm going to throw it gritty.
I knew. I didn't.
Yeah, you did it on first. Just admit it. Just cop to it. Don't lie to the audience. Just cop to it. Be like, watch this. I'm just going to poke the bear.
First of all,
I'm just going to poke the bear.
First of all, he was asleep, right? So I had to wake him up a little bit. I'm glad I did. I gave him some content. He got a nice little short you can go and post on the internet.
There's a reason I'm not in jail. It's because I'm a calm person.
You got some restraint.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm not in jail.
I really like Quinyon.
Kellen Moore interviewing for head coaching positions. Were you at all? Concern you at all? Something you saw coming down the line? Something
you shouldn't be allowed to interview during the postseason.
100%.
They should wait till after your team is either out
100%.
or after the Super Bowl. There needs to be a diatribe. There needs to be a quiet time on it. And it's also just an embarrassing thing to have happen. You're the Saints. Why are you asking to interview anyone on a winning team? Who would want to come and play for you? You're in cap hell. You have 4 quarterbacks that can't throw a ball across the street. Nobody wants to play for you. But you want to call and ask my guy? Come on, stop it.
I'm concerned for no other reason than we remember it. It happened. Jonathan Gannon. He was distracted. We knew he was distracted heading into the Super Bowl, and it played out that way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't think Kellen Moore should have interest. I mean, I would love for Jalen Hurts and this offense to have some consistency year after year. Like, that would be nice. But I understand how the NFL works, and when you have success and when you win 14 football games and you're a favorite in the conference, you're going to get eyeballs. You're going to get attention. I get that. And I'm happy for Kellen Moore, to be honest with you. But I don't need my offensive coordinator distracted. If Kellen wants to take these calls or field these interviews, cool. After the Super Bowl, in theory, right? Don't get distracted in pivotal weeks leading up to the most important game of the season, something that you've worked 6 months for, 8 months for, to be distracted before the most important game. That's the part that concerns me. Not that he might not be here in 2025, but that the important games for 2024 and 25, I guess, are like, I need your focus. He could be distracted again, because we saw it with Jonathan Gannon. I don't want to see it again.
I'm not worried about the actual interview process itself. I'm sure these are very introductory, because you can't sign them until after the season anyway. These are very introductory, exploratory, run-of-the-mill. It's not like Kellen he's done it with us. He's interviewed to be the Eagles head coach. So it's not like he doesn't know how to run an interview.
During a playoff run?
Yeah, but when I say exploratory, if it takes an hour to 2 hours.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want you talking about other offenses. I don't want you thinking about other, because during an interview, it may be exploratory, but you're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to an extent, sell your concepts. What would you do? What's your style?
No. I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like that. I really think when it's a requested interview, no, you're exploring the culture. You're exploring like, and also too, you're talking to the Saints. They're not going to sell in trade secrets if they did. Like I'm not as concerned. What I am, here's where I'm getting.
Go ahead.
What I am concerned at is how many offensive coordinators is this poor guy going to have?
Well, Kellen Moore's not going to get hired by anybody anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, if I'm the Eagles, I'm literally, what the coaches get paid is not against the salary cap.
No.
Pay him whatever he has to pay to stay, because it's going to be the first ounce of solid footing that Jalen Hurts has had in an offense that we've been screaming about. When we hired Kellen Moore, what did all the Cowboys fans say? What did all the fans around the NFL say? You got Saquon and Kellen Moore? Good thing you got a running back that he's never going to use him. All he wants to do is pass. They have tailored an offense around Saquon and the offensive line and Jalen that's been the most effective offense that Jalen's ever had, and quite frankly, the most effective offense that I've seen since 2017. He's done that. Give this guy some consistency. I don't need somebody else, or better yet, them making the wrong decision like a Brian Johnson, who basically almost damn near destroyed the kid's career.
So
am I not making sense?
Yeah, no, you are. I want the consistency too, but I think what Gritty's saying is, don't worry about any of that, because he's not getting a head coaching job. Why don't you think he will? Why don't you think?
Why don't you think that?
Does he not deserve that, or he not?
He's a bad
that?
interview. Like what makes you so sure?
That answer. Some girls just aren't for dating.
They belong to the streets. So Kellen Moore belongs to the streets now.
Yes,
is what you say.
It's the streets of Philadelphia right now.
It's not that Kellen Moore wouldn't want it. It's that a team ultimately wouldn't make that hire.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can't turn to a housewife. I mean, that's him.
You can say.
He's just sitting here doing his job. Like, nobody wants him, bro. Like, you think you do? Because, again, when the offenses look great, but he's had many head coaching interviewing jobs. Mind you, he came here and talked to the puppet master, Howie. And Howie said, I don't think so. And then with Capri Sun kid, Nick Sirianni over him. So, I mean, there's nobody that's going to hire him away from us right now. He's getting paid. He's going to stay, if nothing else, to stay one more year to solidify his offense and his greatness with the team and doing something that hasn't been done, just like with the Lions. Look at the Lions. Both of their coordinators could have been gone last year. They said, you know what? I'm not going to go to that dumpster fire just yet. Let me hang around here real quick. And let me run this back with what I got right now so that when I go back and I say, I want 12, not 8. You know what I mean? Like, so that's Kellen Moore. If I'm Kellen Moore, there's no team on God's green earth available right now that's going to take me away from the Philadelphia Eagles and 14 wins a season.
I don't know that. I totally understand what you're saying, right? I think there's a couple attractive offers out there. I'm not saying he'd get them. Obviously, I think Ben is good. Ben Johnson's going to have the pick of the litter. Like, where does he want to go?
Vrabel, Ben, the Lions defensive coordinator. Like, there's a lot of other big name dudes right now.
Yeah, but it's offensive driven. You know that. So I get it. I get it.
Tabo, I can just name a whole bunch of.
No, you can.
The Harbaugh defense guy, like, just went in there and changed. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The offense is great, but Kellen Moore just doesn't. He didn't. Like I said, you know what I mean?
Look,
can't get the job done.
I'm not disagreeing with you. There's a reason Dallas let him go. There's a reason the Chargers
with me so
let
we
him
can
go.
feel good about it.
Oh, my fault.
You don't have to fight
right.
against it.
You're right.
I'm giving you valid points for you to say, right.
You're right. Can we get that board out? Can we get the board out?
That's just trying to,
Greedy was right.
There is a couple things I
we don't
want
have to fight against it. We want him here, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, bang your head against the wall to find a reason to date the chick. You know what I mean?
It's so good to be back with you guys. Even though Jason's got no friends, it's so good to be back.
I mean, maybe one.
It's so
one
good.
Or two.
It's so good to be back amongst friend. You know what I mean? I see you, Grady. I appreciate you, Grady. I appreciate you.
Look.
Hey, before there's a couple things I want to hit on the exit, but before we get on out of here, and I didn't run this past you guys on purpose, so maybe it stone colds you, maybe it doesn't. Any New Year's resolution, or if you could come up with a football New Year's resolution,
oh, come on,
what would it be? See, I'll go first.
Thank you, because show prep would have been nice.
Well, our show prep was a meeting.
Correct.
Not knowing if we were going to make the air today. So hence the reason why.
Just pulling back the covers. Go ahead.
Well, listen.
What is your resolution?
So my resolution is Los Angeles, I've been ignoring you for far too long. I didn't make it out there when they played the Rams. Before, I didn't make it out there this year. Los Angeles, you got to understand, I love the West Coast fan. They're ravenous. They're just as passionate as we are, but they don't get to see their birds. So when they come to town, they're ravenous. And I know for an away game, SoFi, which I've yet to visit, my last trip to LA was LA Coliseum when Carson busted up his knee, and I thought the 2017 season was a complete wash at that point. Have not been back since. LA, right here, right now, and I will text Vince and call Vince from Philly Sports Trips. I promise you, 2025, your boys going back.
Are they playing the Rams this year?
Yeah,
they're playing the Chargers. They're playing the Chargers.
As a outsider, not within the friend group, it might just be something that I can potentially join.
If you enter the circle of trust.
Oh, I have to be in the circle of trust.
I do know some throwing hand grenades in the middle of the circle of trust.
I do know some folks from the sports trips now.
Okay.
Sports trips.
Yeah.
I've met one or two.
Yes.
When we weren't being friends and we weren't hanging out outside of the show.
Yeah.
Remember, you didn't introduce me to some of those folks?
I don't remember doing that because I didn't.
You didn't. You never introduced me.
No.
We never hung
Did
out.
I?
That's really weird that you would go and hang out with people that he knows but not call him. It almost seems like you're trying to backdoor him a little bit. That's weird.
Whoa. Do not isolate that.
I'm just like,
do not
how
delete
did you
that.
see, I
knew we should have ended the show.
Not being friends to getting backdoored.
Oh my God.
He met people that you roll with, but he didn't contact you.
With him.
Oh, with him.
He brought me.
Oh, but
and introduced me.
Oh, okay.
And we were not friends outside of the show.
Okay.
You know, so I'm just trying to put some fly in the ointment.
So he took you.
Was that the?
Oh, he took you somewhere.
No.
No. And you didn't take me somewhere. Oh
shit.
Wow.
No, I will tell you.
I'm supposed to be so upset.
Listen,
I'm so upset.
We got a lot of catching up.
No, it's cool. I don't even want to catch up.
Don't we though?
I don't even catch up. I don't need to go in the dressing room with you chumps. You know what I mean? I don't need to be putting on snapbacks.
I was gonna say we can
whatever
exchange
y'all
some
are
hats.
doing. No. You're good.
It's in the back
You're
door.
good.
You don't want it?
And I'll go to Cali too. I got a couple girls I can stay with. I don't need you on board.
Hey,
got my
Black
board.
Hoodie's in these streets.
All right, can
I'm in these
we start the
streets.
wheels of momentum now? So since we
Yeah.
just got fresh out of that meeting and we're all in that good vibe, maybe we could do a remote in LA. Like we could start the wheels now.
Bree, you coming with
all
us?
3 of us can go. We'll
Don't
go
be
out
back
there
there
and do a
sniggling.
quick
I
show.
need a yes or no. This is a full
What
sheet.
I
We
need,
got a producer now.
what I need is your football New Year's resolution.
I don't think that I have one yet.
Okay, Gritty, do you have anything that you wanna?
A resolution?
You see, the reason I'm doing this is Gritty does this all the time
I'll put you on the
to
spot.
me on his show.
All right, so let's see what he has
So
to say.
his Instagram stuff. So I am putting him on the spot.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, unlike both of you, I'm a professional. I'm more mature, and I know everything, and I'm from the future. So you can't really get me on things. Okay, so my resolution is like it was last year. Last year, I wanted 10K on my Instagram, and I got 10K thanks to all the people out there. I got on the 29th. I was sick as a dog, hadn't made a video in 3 days, and it just creeped over to 10K. I sat in my room, I ate a cookie, and I cried myself to sleep. This year, from the road to 10K, I'm going to 50K. And I'm going to be talking more sports. My hockey is going to be finally breaking the seal on that. And as far as football is concerned, I am going to enjoy the fact that I never have to say Nick Sirianni's name again. I believe we're going to win the Super Bowl. And once we win the Super Bowl, I don't care if he gets an extension. I don't care if he's here for like 20 years. I had this argument with somebody. I was like, you hate Nick Sirianni. I'm like, I hope he's the coach for the next 10 years. There's no way. I was like, if he's my coach for the next 10 years, that means I got a Super Bowl. So I would love to have this moron be my head coach for the next 10 years. And if he gets me to a Super Bowl, I'll stop saying his name. I'll go the whole next year without saying the name Nick Sirianni.
I think we need to take it a step above as we hit the 8 o'clock mark. I think we need to take it a step above. If Nick Sirianni wins a Super Bowl, I think that's where I was going. I think like
we get a little
I think
tat?
we need a little Nick NS.
I love Nick.
No, just NS.
No, I love Nick.
The best thing that I love to say to the show, and I say it off air all the time, is I am not white. I do not do white people things. I'm not tattooing another man on my body. The only man's name on my body is my father, who is deceased, and my grandfather. I apologize.
Why you
I'll
gotta
get an
bring it
Eagles tattoo. I'll get something for the birds representing.
What if you get a Lombardi or an Eagles themed tattoo, but in there's like not necessarily
a little
him.
bald white man?
No,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
but
yes.
but like Nick Sirianni from the Britney era.
Then they're gonna say they got E-Rock tattooed on my
I think
body.
we should do it. You remember those old school? Maybe they still got them in supermarkets where it's like the chicken egg, and you ever see in a tattoo shop you can put a and you whatever you get inked. I think we should have the listeners draw up some things, subtle ones, small ones, something that maybe
Bold.
something that can maybe even be incorporated into something larger at a different point in time. However, Nick Sirianni theme. Like maybe it's just an old school American traditional tattoo of Nick Sirianni's bald era, Britney
How about
era.
I just go out in like some boxer briefs and hold a huge sign up outside of NovaCare Center that says, "I'm sorry, Nick, I love
Yes! You see,
about
you
that?
go
Okay.
high, you settle
Yeah,
for low.
yeah, absolutely.
This is a
I'm in.
sales
I'm in.
technique. Everybody
in.
paying attention. This is what you have to ask for big, and then when you settle, you land on exactly where you wanted. That deal. Shake on it.
I know how to make white people happy.
Now, you say in underwear
In underwear, bro.
outside of the NovaCare complex.
In holding a sign
I'm
that
sorry,
says,
Nick.
that says, "I'm sorry, Nick."
Yeah, we're doing that.
There you go. You happy?
You saw it.
There you go.
Mad
dig
Dio and Bram and all of y'all. Lauren Michaels. No.
Lauren Michaels. NBC's watching.
Right.
Tell me,
right.
Tell me I'm not prepared. I'm trying to get me with a gotcha.
You just got. You
I didn't get got.
We
don't
just
even
provided
know
some
you
content.
got. All right.
Like I said, I'll
listen,
be happy to do
content-
it.
Damn it. Before we get on out of here, want to give a special shout out to my man. I'm wearing the shirt, Big Dom.
Oh, you bought that?
I did not.
Oh.
Don't start.
You bought that hat.
I bought the hat.
Bought the shoes.
I bought the shoes. I bought everything. I got the shoes. Shout out,
my
man.
fault. My
I
fault.
just want to give a shout out to Big Dom. I am not somebody who brags about the videos. I'm not somebody who goes back and rewatches a lot of videos. I was so happy with the way the last one turned out on the Instagram page, and it pays homage to a lot of people. But there's a big surprise at the end. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out and share it if you can. Also, this Saturday, Throwing a little us and or me and West Coast Swoop Nation at Live Casino at the Center Bar. We're throwing a little tailgate before the tailgate. I hate hosting tailgates anymore. I'd rather tailgate hop and kind of hop into everyone else's party. But we're throwing a little party the night before. Live Casino, Center Bar, 8 to 11. You know, something reasonable so you can go, you can meet up, you can party, and you can get a nice night's rest. So you can wake up at the butt crack of dawn to go drinking at 6:30 in the morning in the parking lots and do it all over again. But please join us at the at Live Casino on Saturday, 8 o'clock, Center Bar. No cover. There's going to be a band. There's going to be a DJ. There's going to be a photo booth. I think Hollis is showing up. Would love to see you guys there. If you want to make some friends, Jason. Perfect opportunity to get out.
Nope.
Yep.
No, actually, I think I'm having a couple buddies over the crib to watch some Saturday Night Football. But I'll see if I can coerce them.
No problem.
Into
If you're done tap dancing, can we get to a score?
Oh, yeah. We got to get to a score. 27-14. Birds.
Okay.
You're next in line.
I'll go $1 lower, Bob. I'll say 26-13. Birds.
Birds.
Every prediction you're going to get from me moving forward through the Super Bowl is going to end in birds.
Birds.
That's how confident I am.
33-21. Eagles.
Birds. Okay. Love it. Love it. We've been off the air for so long, we haven't even had to do our Woo player. We forgot about the Woo player.
Well, last week, the only Woo player answer that's given is Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee is the bee's knees. I wanted him to be QB2 the day I saw him step out there on the field. Tanner McKee is our Woo player of the week, and he is QB2 no matter what. Tiny Hands, appreciate you. Love the fact that you grew up and wore an Eagles jersey, but Tanner McKee is number 2. I didn't like Mike Mariota last year. Tanner McKee comes in there. They call him the Mormon Missile. I don't care what they call him. Just it's Tanner time. That kid is – so we didn't talk about this. But my favorite thing is like people that don't know football but watch football their whole lives. Why doesn't Jalen Hurts do why doesn't he do play action like they're running for Tanner McKee? And I'm like, well, you know that Lane Johnson and the linemen are all 7'30", and Tanner McKee is 6'6", right? So when he turns around, he's looking over the line, he can actually see. You have to move Jalen to get into pockets and windows to make his throws. The offense isn't just a video game. You don't just pick the play and say you want to run it. Tanner McKee is not number 1. I know a lot of people jump into it. He's so accurate. Shut up. He's Tanner McKee, the Mormon Missile, but he's our QB2. We found a guy who can go in there, be confident, be calm. And to your point of, what are you worried about? Now that I've gotten to see Tanner in real game action, I'm not worried about if something happened to Jalen Hurts right now because I have Tanner McKee. Pickett scared the shit out of me. I saw him get replaced by Duck Dynasty and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't want to hear shit about Kenny Pickett.
You know what it is? And we got time. What are we doing? We got no life. I have no friends. I'm glad you finally agree with me on Tanner McKee because I've been beating that drum. I've been beating that drum for years. And by years, I mean this season.
You're already late then. I was last year.
I like Tanner McKee, right? I loved him when he was drafted. I like what I see out of him. The reason I like him so much is he knows who he is. He plays within himself, right? Tanner he's 6'6", like you said. Can see over the line. He finds that window, delivers the football. He's not out there trying to be mobile. Like there are guys who can be successful in the NFL, your traditional pocket quarterbacks, because they know who they are and they play within themselves, and you can design an offense around that. That's why he's looked so good, I think. When you get Kenny out there, I don't know who Kenny thinks he is. I don't know if he thinks
Kenny
wants
young. To be somebody. He was a first-round pick, and he thinks he's a first-round pick.
He ain't.
And he wants it to be.
He ain't that dude, and I feel like, and this is no disrespect to Kenny Pickett, and I love the fact that he was an Eagles fan growing up, and he's coming home, and the story's great, and all that, yada, yada, yada. But Kenny Pickett, I think, is still struggling to figure out like who the hell he is as a quarterback, what his best attributes are, and to be honest, I don't think any of those attributes are that impressive. Give me Tanner all day, every day. That's part of the reason, again, why I said I ain't that worried. Because if anything happens to Hurts, I trust the 53, and part of that 53 is 16 behind. Let's go.
I love it. Hey, listen, we really appreciate you being patient on our hiatus, but joining us once again, and we appreciate every like, subscription, share, all that stuff, all the things that you do to support the show. We miss you too. Trust me. We miss you too. BG, tell them where they can find us.
PHLYCheapSeats.com. You can get the show on iTunes, Spotify, the YouTubes, and the IGs and the internets and the Twitters and all the things you social kids love to do. This means tiny hands.
That's
by the
tiny
way.
hands.
And until next time, bye. Go Birds!
We all silly like the mayor.